This is a story from a long time ago, how the promise of the Lord came true. How the children of Israel found the promised land, complete with milk and honey and a view. Now to get to this place took quite a little time. Well, it took 40 years to be exact. But a leader like Joshua could get his people there, even though a map and compass he lacked. The day finally came, the moment arrived when the River Jordan was in view. Joshua and company were on the east side in a quandary as to what to do. You see, across the water and down the road was the promised land, we know. But there was a little problem, a tiny obstacle. There was a city called Jericho. Well, I suppose it was more than a little problem. It was more of a minor hassle. Actually, it was a real headache. Yeah, in fact, the city of Jericho was a major obstacle. It was a threat to the future of Israel. I mean, this fortress was a classic example of a monumental edifice of logistical impregnability. Why? This was so high, it was as high as the Sydney Tower. And wide, it was as wide as Melbourne's Westgate Bridge. And deep, why, it was as deep as an Adelaide-built submarine. And Harry.
Right. I have in my hand the score.
I didn't know you were marking this.
There is no Sydney Tower here.
No, well, it's just down the road.
Nor any Adelaide submarines.
Well, that's a union problem.
People are becoming confused. The girls are getting confused, the band is confused, I'm confused, and look at the audience, they're confused.
You're right. Look at that lady in the front row.
You must keep to the music. You know, as a bandmaster, I keep to the published written music at all times.
Yes, Harry.
Besides, you don't know if you know who might be here.
I'm sorry.
Rod, I'm glad we had this little chat.
Good.
Please keep to the music.
Right. No more changing. Right on score. No more confusion. You get the picture. The human odds were not on Israel's side, but they crossed the River Jordan nonetheless. For Joshua knew, and the people did too, if God was with them, they could win with less. So they reached dry land and got organized, but when they saw what they saw, they felt glum. For they discovered when they reached the walls of Jericho, the city was locked up tighter than a drum. Ray! I know I said drum, but that was just a figure of speech, a simile, an analogy. Do you know what I mean? I think they know what I mean. Well, anyway, a plan was devised as to how the attack should be made. For 6 days they marched around those city walls with those thousands. It was quite a parade. You said no more confusion? Keep to the music?
Well, it's my prerogative, Rod.
Prerogative, derogative. It's time we kept to the music. To talk about confusing, the people are confused. I mean, they're so confused they don't know which what not to watch which. Wait. Where was I now? Oh yes, the seventh day, the day that Jericho would come to an end. The Israelites assembled with their thousands to fight. It was almost too much to comprehend. Imagine, if you will, the 7 priests in the front with their trumpets all ready to blow, and the Ark of the Covenant and thousands of men just waiting for Josh to say go. day's parade had a different twist so that no one from the city would escape. The army had to march around 7 times. Josh hoped by now they'd all be in shape.
7 times?
That's right, 7 times. As the Israelites came around the 7th time, the fateful moment was finally at hand. Joshua called his thousands to stop and gave the cue to strike up the band. Ooh, that was bad. They should do some more practice. Yeah. No, Harry, I didn't mean now. Joshua commanded the trumpets to blow and the people to shout. Now, by this time, some strange things were happening. The ground around the city began to shake. The citizens of Jericho were also pretty shook as their walls began to crumble and break. Now the rumble reached 10 on the Richter scale as those quakes and tremors hit that town. Even Josh was amazed and the people were dazed as the walls came tumbling down. As I said before, this saga is more than just a story from a long time ago. For it teaches us that God keeps his promises, as anyone who reads his book would know. So don't ignore this fact or cast this lesson aside, for to do so one would be a fool. Remember, it was God who had power enough to give Jericho urban renewal. Hit it, guys.